thank you so much for joining us today for the Powerful Women interview series. And I just have to say, if there was ever a person who embodied every single quality of a powerful woman, it would be my guest today. Welcome, Dr. Jerry Anderson, coming to us live from Chicago.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone.
Thank you so much for being here. So you are currently the principal at the Bloom Township High School in Chicago Heights, Illinois. And we know you from being the principal extraordinaire here in Colorado. And you've really had an amazingly successful career. And you have done so much, I would say more than most, exponentially to help the schools where you've been the principal. So if you could walk us through your journey of becoming a teacher and then the decision to transition into administration.
Well, I always wanted to be a teacher. From the very first time that I had the opportunity to tutor a girl in English when I was in 7th grade, I knew I wanted to be a teacher because I felt like, wow, I helped her understand this when nobody else could. I felt like it was like some magic gift, right? So I went to George Peabody College for Teachers of Vanderbilt University. People say things like, oh, people who can't teach. No, people who want to teach, because it takes so much of yourself, of your time, your family, you invest in becoming a teacher. You invest yourself, right? And I loved teaching. I mean, every day in the classroom was just a joy. It was a place to be for me. Even the hard days, there was always something good in each one of them. I never thought I'd be a principal, to be honest with you. I didn't set out to be a principal. And the first person who I talked to, the person who was the last person that I taught for, my principal, he said, I always knew you would be a principal. And I'm like, how did you know that before me? But as I think back, he gave me so many opportunities to lead. He said, Jerry, I need to start a new team this year, and I want you to bring this team together. I think you can really do this. And now this year, Jerry, I want you to do this. So he was always giving me these challenges that I just saw as, opportunities to have a team and continue to teach. It was when I had moved to Illinois the first time and had been working on my doctorate. A classmate of mine, I was a dean at the time, was like, Jerry, I just want you to know I gave your name to a school that's looking for an assistant principal, and they're probably going to call you. And I really think you need to take advantage of this. They called me, they hired me. So I spent 1 year as an assistant principal, and then I've been a principal ever since then. Wow. So over 20 years as a principal. And, I love it because you can really make a positive difference for students. It's in the classroom, you do it, but as a principal, I feel you can do it on a larger scale. And that's why I love it so much.
Wow. I love that kind of, you had all the, this was going to be your path, and you were like, I don't think it's going to be. And the universe had other plans for you, clearly.
Yes, indeed.
And I love that you were able to listen to that and really take the chance. I think sometimes we're kind of like, no, I don't, this is what I'm doing, but you really opened yourself up, and that's power as well, because you're kind of saying, I'm going to try this and see what happens. And you've been so successful. And to that, can you share some of your innovations and successes of how you really transformed schools while you've been there?
Well, I've always tried, when I go into a school, and look at the school to see what it needs. One high school I went into, and it was about, we really needed to improve achievement. We had been rated unsatisfactory, and we needed to really improve achievement. And I really needed to rally my team and give them not only hope, but ways that we could actually do this work together. And as people begin to see our successes, people begin to buy in more and more. We were able to move that particular high school out of being unsatisfactory in 1 year. 1 year it took us to move. But it was really, I don't know, I call it aligning your arrows, having everything pointed in the right direction, having your team on board, having people willing to step out and take risk and do things that in a different way than they normally do it. And it got results. Sometimes it's about changing the culture of a building. I stepped into one school, and it was like, You know, Dr. Anderson, the culture of this building, there's some great kids here. They're really smart, but I just want you to help them have fun, help them find themselves. I want you to just bring out that school spirit. I want you to bring in the community. And I just really think you can do this. And that was my challenge there. And I worked really hard to do that, to become a part of the community, to get the kids, you know, excited about being at school, and it worked, you know. So it's always about where am I and what's needed. You know, like where I am right now, we have some achievement challenges and we have some community challenges, you know, with just getting everything pointed in the right direction. And I don't know, I think it's nothing that's really out of my experience to be able to do. And I'm really excited. You know, it's not about, when I moved to this school, people were like, how could you leave that last school and go there? I mean, that's the school where everyone wants to be principal. Why would you go to this school? Who would want to be over there? And I'm like, I want to be over there because I want to be over there because I get to go make a difference there, you know? And, you know, it's not about sometimes being someplace forever. It's about going and doing the work that needs to be done and leaving somebody else to carry on those next steps. But it's really being able to do the work that needs to be done in the time that it needs to be done.
Mm, oh, that's so wonderful. And I think very often in schools and in businesses, a CEO or principal come in and say, here's how things need to be done according to me and what I think. But when you go in and say, what does the school need? That's what makes the real difference, because you're really looking at, almost like with a child, individual children, what do they need, not what do I think they need, you know, but what do they actually need. And that is, we need more principals like you, if I may
Oh,
say.
thank you. I,
Really.
thank you. I always ask at this point in my career, I ask, what is it that I have that you really need? What are you looking for? Because I want to be sure that it's a good fit, right? And that matters. It matters when people embrace you and want you to be able to do the work that you need to do. It's very hard to do that work when people don't want to do the work. You know, you had to have support at some place in the organization, either within your building or from the people who've hired you to do the work. You know, it doesn't mean that it will inhibit you, but having that support just enhances your ability to work and to make that positive difference.
Yes. Oh, yes. And I also love that you don't necessarily say, I'm going to be here for 20 years or 25 years. And because that really is answering the calling of where you're needed and what you can do best. And while it was very, very hard, for example, for us to see you go, you know, understand that, you know, you're almost like Mary Poppins, if you will, you know, where she goes where she's needed, right?
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Truly. So I'm sure as you were ascending in your career, you've had to face challenges and roadblocks along the way. And my two questions are, number one, how did you overcome those? And number two, what advice do you have for people who might be right now facing barriers in their career with things like gender bias, race bias, age discrimination, et cetera? Do you have any words of wisdom?
Yeah. So I'll start with saying every day I wake up is a new day, right?
Ah,
And whatever happened from yesterday, I try to learn from it, but I try to make it not be something that's going to hold me back in the new day. To be able to build on that positive, to be able to build on what needs to happen, and learn everything I can in the space that I'm in, right? Um, I think someone asked me that once. They said, you know, you're such a resilient person. But I think it's about, I don't know, part of it's my faith, part of it is this need that I have inside of me to find my own joy and
mm,
not to stay in those spaces that take that away. Because life is
mm.
short, you know? Life is really short. And it's really not investing everything you are and everything you have when it's not wanted or when it's not appreciated, you know? Like sometimes, you know, you can be someplace and you can be giving it your all every day. And you feel like, I don't know how to say this, like everything's being taken away from you or being taken and you're not getting anything back. It's not gratifying.
Mm.
You feel like, it's not making the difference that you needed to make. And then I think you need to think about where you are and what you're doing. And is it time for you to change?
Mm.
And you really need to, I think you really need to be cognizant of what's going on around you and what it's doing to you and your inner person, your spirit,
Right.
Um, and I don't know, I think life is a journey, you know. I try to make sure that people get to know me for who I am as
Mm.
an individual. Yes, African American, female, mom, principal, tennis player, on and on and on. All of those different things that I feel like describe me as a person.
Mm.
Um, I realize that sometimes people aren't ready for me. And I know that's kind of a strange thing to say, but sometimes people aren't ready. They're not ready to hear the ideas. They're not ready for the innovation. They're not ready for, like when we became a one-to-one school at Monarch,
Mhm.
everybody wasn't necessarily ready, but there were enough people who believed that we could do that, that got on board, helped us to plan, and propelled us forward. And we just brought those people along the way that would believe in the cause, believe in what we were doing. Um, One of the gentlemen I worked with there recently said to me, Jerry, we were ready in Boulder Valley to go online because of the work that you did. And I was like, wow, that's that feels so good,
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I mean, just a group of people who said, hey, we can do this, Jerry. And we got together as a team and we worked really hard. I called them my dream team. We worked really hard. There were teachers, there were parents, there were other administrators. We really worked hard to realize what we wanted to have happen. But let's just say we were in that environment and I had the vision,
Mhm.
but there wasn't the will or the skill or the willingness.
Mhm.
Could I just stay at that place and just beat my head up against the wall and shout louder? And yeah,
Yeah.
no, it doesn't work that way. That's not what makes things happen.
Right.
So when things happen, is really when you can get the critical mass to believe in and to move with you
Mm.
collaboratively. When you can use what each of your gifts are, because everybody has a gift, I truly believe that.
Mhm.
When you can use your gifts and when you can bring those gifts together to dream and plan and imagine what isn't, you can make things happen. I truly
Oh,
believe that.
that speaks to me. Imagine what isn't. That's so beautiful. And I especially love what you said about how really taking stock around you and looking inward, because I think if you're somewhere and you are banging your head against the wall, you could think, oh well, and you just keep doing that. But if you really go inside and say, what's it doing to me, then it's not giving up. I think people might say, oh well, it's giving up, but it's not. It's honoring what's right for you and moving on, and also being really aware of who's around you and who can support you. And if that support isn't there, and you know it's not going to be, then you can tell yourself, I'm moving on for these reasons. It's really how you frame it.
It is. And it's important because so many times people get into situations and they beat themselves up
Mhm.
because they're looking for this perfection, they're looking for this way of pleasing people who are not going to be pleased no matter what you do. So like I said, life is too short.
Mhm.
you know when you have your gifts and you use your gifts in a way that can make a difference, I just don't think you let things get in the way of that
Yeah.
you know um So I really, really pay attention to how I'm feeling inside and the difference I'm making around me. And is there that critical mass with me?
Mm.
Not everybody. You're never going to have everybody. And that's the other thing, people who are having, barriers and challenges, there are always going to be some people who do not believe that you can do whatever it is that you believe you can do. They're going to be people who don't support you. They're going to be people who look at you and form an opinion of you just because they look at you, whether it's about your race, your gender, your ethnicity, your religion. There are always going to be people like that.
Mhm.
But I always say to young people when I'm talking to them, why would you give all of your power? Why would you give everything inside of you and let people who don't believe in you control your destiny? Why would you do that?
Yes. Yes. It,
No, make a choice.
yes.
Don't let them have that power. It's your power to take. And if you harness that power, take it where it needs to be to do the work you need to do.
Mhm. Wow. It's brilliant. And it's funny because it really boils down to that. And it does feel simple. And yet it gets complicated when we allow it to. When we hear, well, so and so said this, and so and so said this, and who should I believe? And it's like getting down to what I love that about why would you give someone else your power? That doesn't make any sense, but we do it all the time.
You do it. You get all these positives. You could get 10 positive messages and one negative message. And the message that plays in your head over and over again is the negative message.
Yes.
And we allow that to happen. It's like, wait a minute. I mean, even numbers wise, even intensity wise, look, we have all these positives coming in, and we let that little bit of criticism, that little bit of just tear in our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to learn not to do that. We have to learn how to build each other up and how to build ourselves up.
Yeah. Oh, that's so, so true. I struggle with that myself. And I'm wondering if, whereas there's like that fear piece too of went from being a teacher to an administrator and you go into a new school. And so what would be some advice for someone who wants to really take a risk in their career or creatively, but they're too afraid? Do you have any advice for that kind of making that leap?
I kind of think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? When you're thinking about making that risk, you got to be sure that, I mean, I can't step out just blindly because there's not just me anymore. I have a family and I have to be able to take care of my family.
Mm.
And one of the things I step out and I think, well, how is this going to affect our lives?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, the place we're going to be, the amount of money I'm going to be making, the community, the schools. So I do my homework.
Mm.
So I don't blindly step out, and I gauge, is this going to be a good move for me? Is this going to be a good move for my family? And what are the things that are important to me? Really outlining those things that are important to you when you're going to step out and take that risk.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have people that they can like say, hey, can you shoulder this responsibility while I step out and do this? And not everybody has someone that they can rely on to do that. I mean, it's just the facts.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I think you really have to weigh your options,
Mm-hmm.
and just believe, I know that maybe I think we sabotage ourselves
Mm.
by not believing in our own possibilities,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I remember once I was a principal, I my first assistant principalship. I'm the only assistant principalship. I moved to another school, and on my way to move to that school, I remember I was in the elevator with one of my professors, and that professor said to me, "Excuse me, how could you go someplace like that? Why would you leave this great school and go to there? You'll never work in a great school again."
Oh, oh,
That's what he told me.
it's like, thank you so much for that unsolicited opinion.
You know, it's people. There will always be those people who want to be that voice
Mm-hmm.
to tell you about what you can't do.
Right.
I think you have to surround yourself by people who believe in your possibilities.
Mm.
You do need somebody who's going to be that reality checker. Everybody needs a reality checker that just says, okay, I'm not going to destroy your dreams. Have you thought about X, Y, Z, W? Have you thought about these things? Because you do need to think about those things, but I don't think you need to let those things stop you. My middle daughter, during the pandemic, she's a therapist. And she says, Mom, I've been working for people all of this time. They get all of the overhead, and I get this, and I'm doing the same work I could do all by myself. And one day she says, Mom, I want you to know I've been working on my own website. I have all my licenses. I've been looking at what it's going to take for me to be able to take insurance. She started her own business.
Wow.
And she stepped out and she did it. She looked at it, here's the skills, here's what I can do.
Mhm.
Here's where here's what my family can handle. This is what it's going to mean to us economically. Can I do this and not destroy everything? She did it, and she's making more, and
Wow.
she's controlling her own destiny. you
Mhm.
know I mean, I'd like to think that I have something to do with that,
I would
with
say
helping her
so.
learn those lessons,
Yes.
but she did it. It's all
Yeah.
on her.
Mhm.
So if you're too afraid to take a risk, weigh those things that are causing you to be hesitant. And
Mm.
if it's just a belief in yourself and your own possibilities, set that one aside and look at the other things that it's going to take for you to be able to be successful. I mean, when you are just I call myself like the common man. I don't have this what do you call it, inheritance to rely on. I don't have that kind of nest egg sitting back there that just says,
Yeah.
oh, go explore the world, do whatever you want. So when you're a common man, when you're like me, you got to weigh all those things. But
Mhm.
don't believe in yourself, believe in your possibilities, believe that if you really want to do something and you put your mind to it, that you can do it. And then start to do the work that it takes to do it. Do your homework, do your research, understand the risk, take a calculated risk.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's excellent advice, because I would imagine your daughter might have had the idea 2 years ago or so, but she did all the work to make sure she had everything ready. And then when it was the right time, she was able to make the leap. And I think too often we get impatient and we say, well, I want to do it right now. It's like, hang on, assess everything you need. And that's so key. And of course, the believing in ourselves piece is ultimately the most important piece, because even if everybody else tells you no, even if we can tell ourselves yes, there's no stopping us.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is right.
Wow. Yes, I would say you definitely imparted wisdom on your daughter. I'm so happy for her. That's incredible. So you talked about seeking joy. Can you share I know you're someone else who chooses happiness like me, or we try to when we can. So how do you choose happiness in your life?
um I think, one, I believe that we're really meant to be happy. I don't think people are meant to be sad and depressed and disappointed in life. I don't believe that.
Mm.
And every day I wake up, I am thankful for that day. And I look forward to the opportunities that that day is going to provide for me.
Mm.
I do things that make me happy it's not that don't ever feel sad. Sometimes I do feel sad. Um, and I was reading like some of your strategies in your book, and I need you to know I've never named them, but some of those things I do.
Oh, that's
Like,
great.
that whole idea of today I'm going to dress this way. And today I'm going to wear these clothes because this is how it makes me feel on the outside. And that impacts the way I feel on the inside. You
Right.
know, I get ready to walk in and to do my next, I'm getting ready to go in and interview for something I've never done before, a new place and time. What do I need around me? Okay, well, here's this little memory jogger. I have my own resume with me. I've done a lot of things over the years. Here's my little resume. Here's my little notebook that I really like to have with me.
Mhm.
I even have, see if this is one of them sitting here. I even keep I have little journals that I use, and the journals that I keep my notes in on a day-to-day basis. I'm gonna see if I have one sitting right here. I think I do. Sorry, just reaching over here. Surround myself with positive
Oh,
things.
wow. Oh, I love that.
See?
Believe
So
in your power. There it is.
so I open up this notebook to take notes in, but
Mhm.
before I open it up, look at all that positive on the outside of it, right?
Yes.
It's not just about the words I'm writing in. And this is a work notebook, it's
Mm.
where I take a note, but I get there and I was like, okay, Jerry, all right, let's get down to our day. And
Yeah.
finding that time to get in touch with your inner happiness, finding that time to breathe. I
Mm.
think the thing I do when I'm at my very, very lowest and when I'm unsure and uncertain about what's coming next, I just slow down
Mm.
and I just take one of those deep breaths.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, even that in itself is a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Just being able to slow down and take a deep breath, center myself,
Mm-hmm.
and think about what is it going to take to move forward. And my joy just comes right back,
Yes.
right? In planning for the future, and planning for possibilities, and planning next steps,
Mm-hmm.
and then being decisive in taking those steps to get there.
Mm.
I think when you really stay in that place where you're not feeling good,
Mm-hmm.
you're not willing to you're not willing to step out of it, right?
Mm.
It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be disappointed. All those feelings are just fine. What's not fine about those negative feelings is staying in that spot. That's what's not fine about it. You
Mm-hmm.
have to make a deliberate choice to step away from that
Right.
and to do those things that can bring you joy. Sometimes, maybe you just have to go and get your favorite cookie. I don't care.
Yeah.
Do those things that bring you joy and find some joy in every day. A lot of people journal. I'm not always good with following up with journaling, but I am good with thinking, what happened today? That
Mm.
was great.
Mm-hmm.
What am I looking forward to tomorrow?
Mm.
And I keep those thoughts with me. I mean, every day, what happened great today? And I find joy in small moments. It's
Mm-hmm.
not always about all the big things. Sometimes it's the small things, you know?
Sure.
Um, so every day, because I just want to, like I said, life is too short.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm one of those people that just want to live life to its fullest.
Mm-hmm.
And part of living life to its fullest is to experience the joy that every day has to bring.
It's beautiful. And, I'll say a lot. My movement, if you will, is choose happiness. It's not be happy, because I think people get confused and say, well, life isn't all just, unicorns and rainbows. It's like, of course it's not. Look at last year. So
Yes.
yeah, so that's where it's like you said, it's making that choice to, when you're faced with a daunting day, have the things around you that you need. If you're in the middle of anxiety, stop and breathe and be grateful for your breath. It really is that conscious making a choice. Otherwise, we can all get buried under the avalanche of what's wrong, and you can always find something wrong. I mean, you don't have to
Yes,
go
you
very
can.
far, you know.
That's right. And if
We
you
call
can't find it, someone will find it for you.
Yes, right. That's exactly right. Right. So you wear a lot of hats: mom, wife, daughter, aunt, principal, tennis player, etc. How do you balance it all so well? Usually,
Well,
right.
yeah, like sometimes my time does get off. But it's what's important. I will even give you today. I got up today and I said to my son, hey, we need to get you ready for your school pictures, let's do these things today. He wears his hair and his hair is locked. So I
Mm.
don't know. And so it's long and it's locked and it takes care.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got up this morning and first I had to get my area ready because what surrounds me matters. Like you see all these books behind me. I can't just go in a room and do something. I got to get the area ready to do what needs to
Yes.
be done. And as soon as I get the area ready, then I can step into that zone, right?
Yes.
And so, but it was worth it to have those moments in time with him.
Mm-hmm.
Because honestly, one day I'm not going to have that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I've learned over the years how to, for example, I'm an early riser, even on Saturdays and Sundays. It's not unusual for me to be up at 3 or 4 in the morning to do
Wow.
meetings.
Ah.
Sometimes those me things are work things.
Mhm.
Sometimes those me things are just watch my favorite movie or, take a nice hot bath. I do those me things in the wee hours of the morning
Mhm.
so that I can have time for the other people in my life during the rest of the day,
Mm.
you know?
Mhm.
And so I can schedule out time. Like I do like to exercise. I do like to play tennis. Um, there's some principal things that have to be done some days. Like this morning I got up, one of the things I did is like, I wrote 2 thank you notes and it's like, I have a few more to write, you know, just getting my day started and being thankful. But it was in my principal role. Then sometimes there's some things in my mom role. So I just look at what I try to prioritize, right? Because
Mhm.
we can't do everything all the time. We have to
Mhm.
prioritize and we have to give attention to what needs attention,
Right.
right?
And I feel like I love what you just said about setting the time in the morning for yourself, because I have found, especially as a woman and as a mother, we are taught me time, self care, that's selfish. You always need to be at the ready for other people. And I'm learning as I get older, first of all, that's so not true. I mean, and to also figure out, okay, I'm not going to sleep in today because a better self-care for me is getting these things done before I have, have to be with my family, not have to, but, engage with my family, etc. And I think that's really key, especially as women, to say self-care is not just going to a spa for the day. It's whatever it
Mhm.
looks like to us.
Yes. And it changes, right? I used to love to just get up and read. Oh my gosh, I just wanted to get up and read every day, just lose myself in a book. And although I still like to read, there's so many other things that I enjoy doing too, and I gauge that. And one of those things, too, is really surrounding ourselves with positive people, you
Mm.
know, right?
Mhm.
Um, I had to go back to, a question you had asked me. You surround yourself with people who they might not always be as happy as I am,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they're positive people and they support you and they nurture you and they don't try to take away your happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Isn't that so important? But back to that beginning of the day, I sit and I think about what needs my attention today.
Mm-hmm.
One day I got up and I was like, oh my goodness, I have all these things to do to get my son ready for school. One day I got up and I said, I'm writing a book. I just want to take some time to write right now. So I'm just going to write this morning. So
Mm-hmm.
it's all about what needs to be done when it needs to be done and believing that you're going to be able to accomplish those things.
Yes, yes. Again, that belief in ourselves, it's so key. And I feel like obviously it has to come from ourselves the most, but having that community around you who can really lift you up when you need it. And also, again, like you said, having that straight shooter in there who might give you, which, we also need. So that begs the question, have you had to sort of gently let go of people in your life who have not been as supportive? Because that can be difficult.
To be honest with you, I learned from an early age is sometimes you just have to let people go.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that all the way back in elementary school, to be honest
Really?
with you. Yeah. Things happen in your life and sometimes they're trials. Sometimes things happen, but they teach you lessons. And I'm smiling to myself because I'm remembering when I was in about probably fifth, sixth grade. I had a young lady come to me and she said, Jerry, I really like you, but I'm not going to be able to come over your house or play with you anymore because my mom feels like this about you and feels like, well, about your family. She likes you, but she feels like this about your family. And so I'm not going to be able to be friends with you anymore. And at first it like, oh, it really hurt my heart
Yeah.
that, I thought we were really friends. We did things together. I thought we were friends. Right. And then I stepped back and I said, why would you want to be with someone who doesn't really want to be around you? Why
Mm-hmm.
would you waste your energy and time with someone who doesn't be happy with you? And
Yeah.
if there's someone else that fills that void, allow them to fill that void for the time they fill that void.
Right.
So I've had to let people go. And sometimes I've had to let people go that people wouldn't expect to have a person let go. You know, I've had some challenging relationships in my life, and I'm just like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Sorry. When you're ready to treat me the way that I feel I need to be treated
Mm-hmm.
with human decency and dignity,
Mm.
we can talk again. But for now, I'm stepping away.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can do that now in my life at this age without regrets.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always that little, but you feel it,
Yeah.
right? You fill that void. And that's what I do. I fill that void. And it saddens me sometimes, but everybody you meet is not going to be about the collective you or the individual you, right?
Mm.
Everybody's not giving, everybody's not caring.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people take, sometimes people need to take, but when they take so much that you start to lose yourself,
Mm-hmm.
it's time.
Yeah. And that's really, I think, a way to honor ourselves and to harness that power that we have to say, even if I've invested time and effort and years in this person, if they're not, I don't want to use the word serving, what's a better word? If they're not kind of aligned with me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of think about, relationships should enhance your life, right? They
Mm-hmm.
should add to. They
Yeah.
should add to who you are as a person, like a one, and you put two together, one and two. Well, two is a greater sum, and they should add to. But
Yes.
if you're one and someone comes and you start to not only not have that person, but lose yourself, that's like that's like zero. Like you can't be zero, right? You can't allow someone just to take from you and take from you. They need to add to, enhance your life and your life experience. They need to add to. And add to for people is different things, but for me, add to is like um well, they are a part of that joy. They are a part of that making life worthwhile,
Mm-hmm.
giving you things to look forward to,
Right.
um, causing you more joy than pain.
Mm. Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and that balance. With people that can get out of balance sometimes,
Yeah.
where you're like, wow, every time I talk to that person, I feel. Every time I have an encounter with that person, I feel. And not that I don't believe in lifting people up and making that effort to be positive, but you have to decide at what point
Mm-hmm.
it's costing you more than you can afford to give.
Oh, perfectly put. I had the aha moment of the numbers of one and one is two. And then if it's one, then you become zero. That's very powerful to me. Because I've been in that state where and then it's negative and then and then so
Yes.
oh yes, I love thinking about it in those terms. And it's interesting too, because I read recently about how I think it was joy is the only thing that is multiplied when it's shared, which I love that. And
Yeah.
then it was also about how grief is lessened when shared. And it's again those people who can be there to lift you up and also to be there when things aren't going so well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And don't you feel joy when you do nice things for other people?
Yes, I
So
do.
so I will tell you, when I received your book and
Oh,
when you reached out to me and I received your book, that day was just a happy day for me. It brought me a lot of joy. I need to tell you that. And when I opened your book and begin to read it, I couldn't help but smile because it also brought me joy, right? It's fact, it's in my book, my bag that I take back and forth to school because I'm like, oh, I could just read a little bit more today, you know. I have a few moments. Um, absolutely, absolutely. You
mhm,
choose joy, you choose happiness.
mhm,
It's definitely a choice. I don't No matter what is happening in your life,
mhm.
no matter what is happening in your life. And I think some people, they look at me and they're like, well, you've never had anything bad happen to you. Oh, come on now. Everybody's had their moments, please.
Yeah.
but you choose how you accept those. If I had a board right now, there was this gentleman named Jerry Patterson. He wrote this book about resilient school leadership.
Mm.
And he just imagine a straight line. You're walking along the straight line, and then you hit this point where that line goes at a slant and it just takes you down to the bottom.
Mhm.
And one of the things that he says in his theories in his book is that from that bottom, you choose whether to rise to the level you were on or go higher and be better. I choose to go higher and be better every single time. Every single time I'm going to hit that bottom, I'm going to choose to come back and be higher and be better because
Mhm.
of it.
Yes.
That's a choice.
It's a choice. It really is. And sometimes I think, like we were saying, we put so much power on the thing that has brought us down. Well, this is insurmountable, or this is, I'll never get over this. And it's like, that's a choice. The thing itself, whatever it is, I feel like that's not sentient. Like it's not out to get us. We are in control of how much we let it affect us and how much we can rise afterwards.
That's
If
right.
that makes sense. Yeah,
What are you giving your power to? Who are you giving your
exactly.
power to? Are you
Yes.
taking it? Are you allowing all of that negative in your life to just suck it away and use it the way they want to use it? I
Mhm.
don't, I just don't believe that human beings, I don't believe I'm on this earth to feel that way. I just don't believe that. I don't think that I have been gifted with this life to not enjoy it. I don't believe that, you know?
You're getting a
So
whole chapter in the sequel. I mean, that was that was so perfect because life really is this gift.
it's a gift.
Every day is a gift, and we need to honor that gift by being as happy as we possibly can while we're here.
Yeah. And spreading that joy to others whenever we can too, you know.
Mhm.
We can make it, we can make a difference. We can make a difference. We can bring joy to others. Um, it's the little things. I do believe in random acts of kindness. I think I've been the beneficiary of them, and I've had to give some of those things back.
Mhm.
I believe in doing things like that. It just matters.
Mhm.
Um, if we all choose to be kinder and to be more caring and to lift each other up, could you just imagine what kind of world we would live in?
I would love to imagine that. I really would. And I think sometimes people get caught, and I believe in random acts of kindness as well, that the small thing isn't enough. And I want to tell people, but it is, leaving during the pandemic, we were all in lockdown. One of our neighbors brought by flowers to everybody's doorstep with their little kids, like once every couple of weeks. And it was the teeniest little thing, but our day was brightened. We couldn't go anywhere, but there were flowers. And for someone to say that wasn't enough, it was more than enough. And I feel like people get stuck in saying, oh, I'm not going to bother because all I can do is this little bit. And it's like, just do that. You do, and you don't know the ripple effect it's going to have.
No, you don't. You never know what someone else's day is like. No
Mm-hmm.
matter what they look like, how much they're smiling, you never know what's going on in somebody else's life. And sometimes that little thing that you can do, it matters.
Mm-hmm.
It matters.
It
And
does.
it makes their day better. It makes them feel appreciated, you know?
Mm-hmm.
People should feel valued and appreciated.
Yeah. And I know I always feel better when I've done something too. So it really is, it's doubled. you
It
know?
is. It is. It comes right back to you like, oh, I'm so glad that I got to do that. And,
Yes.
and if you do something for someone and they don't appreciate it, I'm still so glad I got a chance to do that. Maybe they'll
Exactly.
appreciate it tomorrow.
Right. I am right there with you.
Yeah, maybe one day they'll see that I was trying to.
Exactly.
It's not always
Well,
about immediate gratification, right?
right, right. I could talk to you all day, but my last question for you is, as the world opens back up, what are you looking forward to? There's so much to look forward to.
That is so true. This is going to be probably a crazy thing to say, but what I've loved about this time period, as hard as it's been, has been surrounding myself with my family and closest friends,
Mhm.
even from a distance. I think it has allowed me to remember those things that are most important and that I value the most in my life. And as the world opens back up, I want to be able to take all of that with me,
Ah,
right? I want to take the time, the understanding, the learning, the appreciation that I've gained for myself, for my life, for my family, for their lives, for my friends. I want to take that with me as I go forward. So I love traveling and seeing the world, and I love taking walks, and I love playing tennis. There's so many things I just find joy in doing. Um, I guess it's just about your state of mind when you're doing those things, right?
Mhm.
And staying centered,
Mm.
keeping what's important important. And I just want to keep what's important important as we go forward and the world opens back up again. And no
Mhm.
matter what I'm able to do, I want to be able to remember to do those things that matter most.
Mhm. Wow, what a wonderful lesson from everybody else is kind of griping about time lost and how awful it was, but to be able to take it and take the gifts from it that you were able to find, that is the epitome of choosing happiness, really.
Yeah, there's some little voices. I'm surprised you haven't heard them in the background, my little granddaughters. So what a part of my daughter starting her business is she works on the weekends and I get the babies.
Oh yeah. What could be better?
They're
Oh, that's
beautiful.
wonderful. Wow.
And I just smile every time I look at them. I mean, every little thing. I mean, like, that matters. And I don't know, I haven't really started doing a lot of stuff yet.
Mhm.
I've just, maybe because I don't really need to,
Ah, right. We
you
have
know?
learned that. Yeah.
We thought we had to do certain things, but we really don't.
Mm-hmm. What a gift. And what a gift to have your grandbabies around you. Oh, that's so wonderful. Well, go enjoy them. Thank you so much. You are so inspirational. You are such a powerful woman. And thank you for sharing all of your advice and insights with us. It's been an honor, truly, to speak to you today. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Rachel. The honor was really mine,
Oh,
honestly. Sharing this space and time with you it's been really special. Like I said, from the time I heard from you and we connected again and I got your book. I'm like, wow, this is meant to be. So you're a powerful woman too, and you're making a difference for a lot of people. So you keep doing the good work too. Thank you.
thank
And I
you.
hope you have a great rest of the day.
You too. Thank you so much. Mwah. Thank you.
Back to you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.